All right, hey everybody, it is Yanni Hamburger, and finally the Macabre Tavern is back, and we're doing a 31-day horror challenge. This time, today, the theme is zombies. And of course, I have to go with my favorite zombie movie of all time, Day of the Dead, coming out in 1985. This is the sequel to Dawn of the Dead that came out in 1978. As a matter of fact, when we opened the movie, it has been a few years since Dawn of the Dead. Of course, we all remember at the end, the government basically has collapsed. All the emergency alerts have stopped, and the whole world is now in chaos. So, what happens is we now go to an underground missile bunker in the Everglades. Now, this is where scientists have been trying to find a solution to the zombie pandemic. The soldiers that have been assigned to protect them, Dr. Sarah Bowman, her lover and soldier, Private Miguel Salazar, radio operator Bill McDermott, helicopter pilot John, all go from their underground base in Fort Myers to attempt to find additional survivors. Now, they find a large horde of undead when they return to the base, and they were told that the military detachment officer in charge had died. Now, Sarah becomes concerned over Miguel's worsening mental state. Of course, Miguel finally completely goes. I mean, the movie's been out since 1985. You don't know, you don't know this movie by now. Dr. Logan, who got his nickname Frankenstein by the soldiers because of how he dissects the zombies, believes the undead plague victims can be made docile and domesticated through training and conditioning. And I like that because it gets to my favorite scene where you're seeing the zombie read the book. He puts headphones on the zombie. The zombie even tries to with the razor, that sort of thing. I thought it was really cool. And then, a little bit later on in the movie, when everything is starting to fall apart, that zombie, believe it or not, comes back and actually gets revenge on the doctor. Things have been going downhill ever since the military detachment basically, the leader of the military detachment basically died. Things start to really go downhill. The tensions between the soldiers and the scientists worsen because the supplies are leaving. The dangers involved in capturing the zombie specimens, that sort of thing. It starts to really screw with everybody, including Miguel, and we'll find out what happens later in the movie. That his mental state just goes absolutely down the drain. Of course, during a zombie roundup procedure, a zombie escapes his harness when Miguel loses his focus, resulting in the deaths of soldiers Miller and Johnson. Miguel then snaps and attempts to kill the creature, but another zombie bites him on the arm. With Bill and John's help, Sarah amputates and cauterizes Miguel's arm to stop the infection. Rhodes calls off the experiments and demands that all captive zombies be destroyed. Well, that's when everything just really hits the ground. And of course, our favorite zombie, Bub. Who can forget Bub? He's the one I was talking about earlier with the headphones and reading the book and the shaving. Absolutely, I love Bub. He is just such a meme and such a beautiful meme too. But yeah, Bill decides they should leave for the helicopter immediately. Rhodes finds out that Logan has been feeding the flesh of dead soldiers to Bub as positive reinforcement for his behaviors. So basically, Rhodes kills Logan and seizes the remaining scientists and non-military personnel, stripping them of their weapons. Rhodes attempts to force John to fly him to his remaining soldiers away from the base, which John refuses to do. So Rhodes kills Dr. Fisher, locks Sarah and Bill inside the zombie corral, and orders Private Steele to beat John into submission. Well, back in the laboratory, Bub has figured everything out. He has freed himself and later discovers Logan's corpse. In a display of human emotion, he mourns for Logan, but then picks up the pistol and actually starts going after the soldiers. Really cool. I love it. Outside, a suicidal Miguel opens the perimeter fence, allowing hundreds of zombies to surround him on the missile elevator platform. As they begin tearing at him, he activates the elevator control box, lowering the zombies into the complex. And basically, Rhodes leaves his men to be killed, chased by Bub. He desperately attempts to escape, but runs into a mass of zombies and is shot by Bub, who mockingly salutes Rose as he's torn apart. John, Sarah, Bill make it closer to the chopper and escape to the island. So yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, it's pure Romero action from start to finish. I love even they had like a little fake tropical island that you could just get away. That was basically their break room, right? The movie is absolutely outstanding. If you have not seen it yet, get in on the trilogy basically, because this is the third movie in the trilogy. I know I said it was a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which it actually is. It actually goes after Dawn of the Dead, but Dawn of the Dead is the sequel to Night of the Living Dead. So just go watch these three movies, and you can watch them back to back to back, or you can watch them one at a time. You're never going to get lost in these movies. It is still one of the best movies out there as far as the zombie genre goes, because let's just be honest, Romero knew what he was doing. And you can't really go wrong with a Romero movie. So, all right, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back tomorrow with day 2 of our 31-day horror challenge. Until then, Hamburger out.